Water. Uh, yeah.
ਹੋ ਖਾਸ ਤੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰੀ ਬੱਲੀਏ ਚਿਹਰੇ ਰੰਗ ਦੀ
Hi, my name is Dia. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Civil Rights Movement. What is the Civil Rights Movement? Well, the Civil Rights Movement was a particular time when African Americans were not considered equal. They did not have civil rights like the whites did. They got beaten up, sprayed by hoses, and bitten by German shepherds. In fact, German shepherds were one of their least favorite dog types. Whites even refused to serve to the African Americans. It was not a very good life to live. These people started protesting and following their leaders. In fact, we are going to talk about some of these leaders today.
Martin Luther King Jr. sparked the Civil Rights Movement greatly. He led the 1955 boycott movement, which was a peaceful movement that inspired many African Americans to stand up for equal freedom as white people. He wanted people to know that you can't get freedom without a fight. On August 28, 1963, Martin Luther King called for the end of racism as he gathered 250,000 civil rights supporters. As he spoke in front of the Lincoln Memorial and defined the meaning of African civil rights freedom. At age 35, he became the youngest to win the Nobel Prize at age 13. Martin Luther King became the most important voice of the civil rights movement and was looked upon by many civil rights supporters. He participated in many civil rights and religious groups. Martin Luther King was a pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. King traveled over 6 million miles and spoke over 2,500 times, appearing wherever there was a protest. Martin Luther King was a leader and a social activist, but was assassinated on April 4, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee, as he was shot standing on the balcony of his two-story room. He died an hour later at St. Joseph's Hospital. His death sparked a wave of riots. His death inspired many African Americans to continue fighting as Martin Luther King would have wanted for freedom.
Malcolm X was one of the most influential black leaders of all time. He fought for civil rights of African Americans. Malcolm X grew up with a lot of family pressure. For example, his dad was found dead in the back of a truck, then his mom went crazy and was put in a mental hospital. So it's amazing how Malcolm X grew up with so much inspiration. One of my favorite quotes he said to everybody was, "You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless they have freedom." After saying only 2 speeches or more, white people either started protesting with them or quitting their jobs as firefighters or police officers. Malcolm X still inspires people today, but not for civil rights, for education.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about Emmett Till, a African American who died of a horrible cause. So Emmett Till grew up in a working class neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. And though he had attended a segregated elementary school, he was not prepared for the level of segregation in Mississippi. Shortly after Emmett Till's death in Mississippi in 1955 for flirting with a white woman, the white woman's husband and her brother made Emmett carry a 75-pound cotton gin fan to the bank of the Tallahatchie River and ordered him to take off his clothes. 2 men beat him nearly to death, gouged out his eye, shot him in the head, and then threw his body in the lake, tied to a gun fan with barbed wire into the river. Emmett Till was murdered by the KKK, as we know as the Ku Klux Klan. In effect of Emmett Till's death, black men and black women stood up and started protests for the civil rights movement. This showed men and women that there was absolutely no reason to kill and murder people. But instead of making black women and black men scared, this encouraged many people to fight and show that they could be equal together. The Emmett Till murder trial brought to light the brutality of Jim Crow segregation in the South and was an early impetus of the African American civil rights movement. Bye. carry a 75-pound cotton.
He said to everybody was,
Segregation encountered in Mississippi.
Really?
Okay, I'm sorry, it just won't stay. So Emmett Till grew up in a
Rick, you.